Hello guys, today we summary about Vietnam's history. I will provide an overview of the history of Vietnam, covering key moments from its ancient origins to the present day. Origins. Vietnam has a long history, with evidence of human habitation in the region dating back to the Paleolithic era. The first known civilization in the region was the Dong Sun culture, which emerged around 700 BCE. This culture is known for its bronze casting, agriculture, and development of the Vietnamese language. Chinese rule. Vietnam was annexed by China in 111 BCE and remained under Chinese rule until the 10th century CE, when a series of Vietnamese rebellions forced the Chinese out. During this period, Vietnam was heavily influenced by Chinese culture and adopted Confucianism, Buddhism, and other Chinese philosophical and cultural elements. Independent kingdoms. After driving out the Chinese, Vietnam became a series of independent kingdoms. The most prominent of these was the Nguyen dynasty, which lasted from 1802 to 1945. During this time, Vietnam experienced periods of stability, cultural growth, and economic development. French colonization. In the late 19th century, France began colonizing Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia, which it called French Indochina. The French maintained control over Vietnam until 1945. During this time, Vietnam experienced economic and social change, but also faced political repression, cultural suppression, and economic exploitation. Nationalism and independence. In 1941, during World War II, Vietnam was occupied by Japan, which replaced the French colonial administration. The Vietnamese communist leader Ho Chi Minh emerged as a key figure during this period, leading the anti-Japanese resistance and forming the Viet Minh independence movement. After Japan surrendered in 1945, Ho Chi Minh declared independence for Vietnam, but France refused to recognize the declaration. First Indochina War. The struggle for independence led to the First Indochina War, fought between the Vietnamese and French forces from 1946–1954. The war was brutal, with both sides committing atrocities against civilians. The conflict ended with the Vietnamese victory at the Battle of Dien Bien Phu and the signing of the Geneva Accords, which divided Vietnam into two regions: the communist-led North Vietnam and the anti-communist South Vietnam. Vietnam War. The Vietnam War began in the 1960s when the United States became involved in the conflict, supporting South Vietnam against the Communist North. The war was marked by brutal fighting and widespread protests in the United States and around the world. The war ended in 1975, when North Vietnamese forces captured Saigon, the capital of South Vietnam, and reunified the country. Post-war reconstruction. After the Vietnam War, the country faced widespread destruction, internal division, and isolation from the international community. The government launched a series of economic reforms, collectively known as Doi Moi, that opened up the economy to foreign investment and facilitated greater international integration. Current day. Today, Vietnam is a rapidly developing country with a booming economy, a growing middle class, and a young and dynamic population. However, it also continues to face challenges related to political freedom, human rights, and environmental degradation. Conclusion. Vietnam has a rich and complex history that has shaped its culture, economy, and society. The country has undergone significant changes and struggles, from colonization and war to revolution and reconstruction. Despite the challenges it has faced, Vietnam has emerged as a thriving and dynamic nation, with a bright future ahead.